It is 5:30 on Tuesday, March 8th, 2022. I hereby call the meeting of the Round Rock Independent School District Board of Trustees called board meeting to order. Trustees Vessa, Weston, Feller, Harrison, Weir, and Bone are present. Trustee Zhao will be arriving late. Please stand for the pledge. All right, it is time for public comment. At each board meeting, the board will set aside time to afford the general public an opportunity to speak on items on the agenda. We ask that concerns or complaints regarding specific individuals not be raised in this public forum. Specific concerns about employees or former employees should be considered separately according to applicable board policies. The board requests that comments, whether positive or negative, be courteous and respectful. I would like to remind the audience and the viewers that the comments of the speakers reflect their own positions or opinions. Please note that while public does have the right to speak, the right is not unlimited. Per Texas Penal Code 38.13, 42.01, 42.02, and 42.05, and Texas Education Code 37.105, no audience member or speaker will be permitted to engage in any conduct that is disruptive or threatening toward any speaker or other person, or to violate the privacy rights of another person. The board shall not tolerate disruption of the meeting by members of the audience. If, after at least one more individual warning from a presiding officer, any individual continues to disrupt the meeting by his or her words or actions, the presiding officer will request assistance from law enforcement officials to have the individual removed from the meeting. The board may not discuss or act upon any matter that's not listed under the action item portion of the agenda. Therefore, board members may not discuss the comments of the speakers. Please understand that a lack of response from board members does not indicate agreement or approval of the comments. Each speaker will be given 2 minutes to address the board. Trustee Harrison will be the designated timekeeper. We have 11 public speakers tonight. First is Denise Ray, speaking on item D1, and you do live in the district.
We are requesting the release of the investigator's report. The parents and taxpayers of Round Rock ISD deserve to know what our tax dollars are going toward. First, we are paying for our $350,000 plus $10,000 family relocation package and car and cell phone allowance toward the salary of a man who was hired in spite of multiple red flags, and those flags are no longer just red. They are now crimson stained with allegations of assault. After thorough investigation, there should be enough evidence to reinstate or terminate the superintendent. Regardless of which option you take, you owe it to the public to make the evidence-based decisions that are completely transparent. It's no surprise that this district has struggled and continues to struggle with transparency. The actions of the board have tainted our district. It's not too late to regain public trust. If there's nothing to hide, then you'll hide nothing. Use the investigator's report to demonstrate to the community that Dr. Azaiz deserves to be reinstated. Or on the flip side, if the report shows that he's in violation of his contract, the public deserves full transparency. By shielding the community from the contents of the report, you'd be creating more questions and doubts, and you'll continue to lose public trust. And if we can't trust you to be forthcoming, how can we trust you to make decisions on behalf of our children? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Krista Lane, speaking on item D1 and D2, and you do live in the district.
I'm Krista Lane, and I have 2 middle schoolers who have been in Round Rock ISD since kindergarten. Trustees, first they came for Dr. Azaiz. Next, they are coming for you. They've come in public comment, and they've come behind closed doors. They've come as little voices in the ear of the TEA and the Williamson County Commissioners and Steve Bannon. They have viciously attacked Trustees Zhao and Harrison. They have an open records request out on Trustee Feller, which targets her child. Trustees Vessa and Weir, you also know what I'm talking about. They're coming for you, trustees, and they are also coming for this district. Voting to remove Dr. Azaiz will not save the district. Removing him only clears the way so that they can intensify and focus their attacks on you, continuing until they've laid enough wobbly support for the TEA to take over Round Rock ISD. And even if you follow their wishes now, the next directive is coming with the same threats. If you won't draw the line over our superintendent, where will you draw it? What control have you actually retained? When you vote against your conscience to remove a superintendent, what message do you think you send to the rest of your staff? Your teachers know what these attacks are like too, and they are watching. On Dr. Azai's, vote your conscience, vote your freedom to vote without intimidation, vote to stand in support of your staff. Vote to put Dr. Aziz back on the job, because once he's gone, who do you think is next? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Renata Sims, speaking on agenda item D, and you do live in the district.
Good evening, trustees. I appreciate the opportunity. Tonight, or all day long, is actually International Women's Day. And I just want to take the time to thank the two trustees, Trustee Bone and Trustee Weston, who have just relentlessly advocated for women's rights in this issue with the superintendent. And regardless of how you decide tonight, I just hope that we are not going backwards on protecting women in this school district. On top of that, as an additional, maybe little bonus, I would like for this whole board to consider protecting our girls in these schools. Do not allow biological males in female restrooms.
Sorry, we're not posted for that. Thank you so much. Next on the agenda is Rebecca Melise, speaking on item D2, and you do live in the district.
Good evening. Ethics are a foundation for a civilized society. There have been many calls to terminate Dr. Isai's contract for ethics violations, all based on allegations. I ask the board to address all ethics violations if you go this route. Trustee Weston has violated the code of conduct many times, bragging about faking a medical exemption form, walking out of a meeting because she didn't get her way, BCCing confidential board emails to her fan club, storming out of last month's grievance meeting about her abuse of power. Those are just a few of the examples. The time to act is now. The appropriate action is censure.
Next is Jacqueline Elaine Lee, speaking on item D2, and you do live in the district. I don't see her in the audience. Next is Jill Ferris, speaking on item D1 and D2, and you do live in the district.
Tonight I stand here for the umpteenth time to talk to you about our superintendent. I know there's nothing left to say, but here I am. I know in my heart that you do not hear me. You do not care that you've turned our school district into a media sensation dumpster fire circus. You do not care that you've wasted hundreds of thousands of dollars protecting and defending a superintendent that you never should have hired in the first place. You do not care that our district is hemorrhaging students and teachers. You do not care that you have stolen from our children to fight for a man that viciously attacked the mother of his unborn child. You do not care that you have wasted countless time and energy on this superintendent while our students fall farther and farther behind. You have completely lost touch with what should be your primary focus, the students and staff of Round Rock ISD. Imagine my surprise when I read the agenda for today's meeting and saw that a separation agreement was on the table. You've already been presented with a dozen ways in which this superintendent has violated his contract, and we shouldn't waste another penny nor another second of our lives on this man. It's one thing to make a bad decision, but it's so much worse when you refuse to acknowledge and rectify the situation. And by rectify, I don't mean throwing millions of dollars at Azai's to secure a confidentiality agreement that keeps all the bodies buried. Students and staff aren't the ones that chose to hire a morally corrupt and incompetent superintendent, and yet they are the ones that continue to pay for it. But I stand here and ask one simple question. Who deserves the money more? Let's put the superintendent behind us once and for all and move forward. Let's actually start working on making our schools and making our district something to be proud of again. In spite of all of our differences, at our core, we all want our kids to succeed. We want our teachers to be happy and fulfilled. Let today be the day when you start to care. It's time to take out the trash and start making decisions that will actually make lives better. Because if you don't hear me today, if you continue to show us that you don't care, you won't ever be able to undo the damage that you've done. Families are done with your nonsense. They are done with your schools. They are done with the drama. This board will never get another bond passed. This community is...
Time. Thank you.
Next is Melissa Welshley, speaking on item D1 and D2, and you do live in the district. Next is Jennifer White, speaking on, you actually signed up for C1, but I'm assuming D1 and D2? Okay, great, thank you. And you do live in the district.
I do. She's really tall. I'm a parent of children in this district. I'm also a taxpayer in this district, like many of these other individuals. You need to release the investigation report because we paid for it. I don't know how much it cost. That should be released of how much we paid for this. But we all should know. We paid for it, we all paid for it. It shouldn't just be given to you guys. It should be released unredacted so everyone can see. Because if you have something to hide, it'll be very telling if you withhold it. If you have nothing to hide, share it. Let us all. People think it's a hoax and everything is, all these things that he's not, he didn't do anything wrong. Then release it. I think there's going to be some interesting things that'll be telling. Second, fire him. Get rid of him. Let's start fresh. As Jill just stated, you know what? We need to move forward. We're here for our children. You need to let him go without a penny more. We've paid him $30,000 plus every month since he's been put on leave since January. What a great day that was. But we're still paying for him. He's not earned his right to receive another penny moving forward. Clear your conscience. Vote for him tonight to get rid of him. Let's start fresh. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Next is Lindy Dower, speaking on items D1 and D2, and you do live in the community. Oh, this is virtual, sorry. Give me just a second to switch over to our virtual speakers.
Hi, am I on?
Yes, I don't have video on you yet. Just give me just 1 second. Let me see if I can get the Zoom.
Hey, I'm in my kitchen preparing some vegetables.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Dower.
Okay. All right. Well, my name is Lindy Dower, and I am a longtime resident of Round Rock ISD. My adult kids graduated from Westwood High School, and I appreciate this opportunity to speak and appreciate it that I can do it virtually. I want you to please reinstate Dr. Azaiz as superintendent. There has been no evidence of wrongdoing. Bring him back immediately so he can do the job he was democratically elected to do. Do not allow the TEA to usurp your power. You, the board, were also democratically elected. Now more than ever, we need you to stand up to bullying from the state and from parents who are the loudest, but not in the majority. And I thank you all. I know you do care. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Dustin Clark. Dustin Clark, speaking on item D2, and you do live in the district. I don't see him on the participant list, so we'll go back to Xiaoquin Elaine Lee. Didn't see her come in. Melissa Welshley. Didn't see her come in. And Dustin Clark. Okay, that concludes our public comment for the evening. We're going to go into closed session. We will be having closed session in this room, so we'll ask all the participants to leave. We're going to take our items out of order and start with D2, pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071 and 551.074. The board will consider and consult with attorney regarding superintendent's employment and contract, including but not limited to a possible superintendent separation agreement. It is 5:45. We are in closed session.